What is going on? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my broadcast, which is the name of the show. You can't make this BS up. So I'm excited to do this first podcast. I've had several podcasts out there, played around with it, but it did not work out because I didn't have the time. But this time I've decided to actually take the time and actually focus on doing just that. This season, we're going to be talking about a very unique subject, which is killer or lethal neighbors. I think that is something that a lot of people do not understand, that you can actually have a lethal neighbor and not even know it. I'm going to read a passage right quick introducing this show that comes from the book of Mark, 12th chapter, 30th to the 31st verse. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. Powerful statement, right? We are supposed to love our neighbor like we love ourselves. But unfortunately, in this season, a lot of people did not get that memo. Now, before we get started about the season, you probably want to know who I am. Well, everybody calls me Joel. I am a Navy veteran, served my country proudly for 6 solid years. I was a culinary specialist. First started out as a tech. Wasn't my forte. We didn't get along in that category, and I became a culinary specialist. I was a part of the Libya strike. I've done a lot of tours and deployments. Seen a lot of things that I don't like discussing about, because in this day and age, you rather just state the minimum when it comes to the art of war than going into detail. I am bipolar. I do have mental health issues of being bipolar. I am also have PTSD, so have a hard time sleeping at night. Sometimes I have involuntary shakes. But I'm not perfect, but I do know that I have a passion for true crime and politics. I also have a actual Rumble account with my political views, how I feel things going on in America, Day News and Views, and Joel Davis Media Network. Follow those two on Rumble. You will not be disappointed. So, with that being said, we are now going into this first season story about two neighbors. These two neighbors are the Mitchell family and the Ragland family. Now, the two star players in this actual episode is going to be Robert Mitchell Sr. and Ronald Lee Ragland. So let's jump into this. So Robert moved into the neighborhood, Robert Mitchell Sr., on Charm Court in Brandywine back in the late 2000s. Now, he lived there with his wife. He had 3 kids. He had a daughter and twin boys. Now, Robert was an Army veteran. He lived on disability payments after an injury. Now, he was very close to his children, and he was a great father. His son, actually his twin boys, talked very highly of Robert. They said their father was the type of man that he stood on his values and principles, and he taught them to respect their elders. and at all times to represent their family with the utmost respect. Sound a lot like my father, who was not prior military, but was on that type of mind frame. Whenever you leave my home, please keep in mind that whatever you do out there is a representation of your family. And if you're going to act the fool, guess what? You're showing everyone that everybody in your family acts the fool for unnecessary reasons. So, yeah, definitely don't want to have that uh, type of situation. Now, when he moved over there, there was a guy named Ronald Ragland. Now, Ronald Ragland and his family lived across the street from the Mitchells. Now, they've been living there since 1996. Now, it was stated on the show that I got my sources from, which is Fear Thy Neighbor, and Ronald worked as a driver for a trucking company. Now, Ronald got along with the Mitchells at first very well. They got to the point they would be competitive, talking about, who's going to have the best lawn, who's going to have the best parties. Like, they really got along until the kids started getting older. And everybody know when you have teenagers are not quiet people. We know this. We all know that. I don't care how much you try to sugarcoat the situation with teenagers. Teenagers are not quiet people. Teenagers are going to want to go and they want to have fun, right? They want to go and actually enjoy life with their friends. That's why I always suggest to a lot of people, in my opinion, if you get in a neighborhood where there is a lot of noise and you are an older person and you're not looking for that type of noise, but you're seeing there's a lot of young kids in there, yes, it do suck to move, or yes, it suck to resell your house that you just got, but it's best to do that than to sit there and get into it with your neighbor and find yourself on the wrong side of the law. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I have moved so much in my lifetime that I done got immune to moving. So if I have to move to continue to have a peaceful mind, I will do just that. That's just my personal belief. Getting back to this whole situation, Ronald again would complain about these kids running down the street. Now, he had called the police on that family over and over and over again. In fact, Ronald got so aggressive that at one time he had Robert Jr. by his collar, complaining about Robert Jr. by his collar. Now, Robert Jr. is Robert Sr.'s son. He was one of the young teenagers that would skateboard, have fun in the street. Well, y'all know how that is by the father seeing his son getting in a very physical altercation. They're with another grown man old enough to be their father. They ready to take it to the next level. But then it just kept escalating between them two. I mean, they kept going at it tit for tat. In fact, the cops, I think they said at one point within a month time frame, it was 20 plus times, the cops had been called between the Mitchells because of Ragland upset with how they were not bowing down to his antics. Now, there was also a resident in the area stated that Ronald also rubbed his neighbors the wrong way as well. Because there was a point that his house got vandalized. And he definitely thought that it was the Mitchell kids who were responsible for it. And it was leading him to installing security cameras around his home. But the issue was, it was always proven that it was not the Mitchell kids. Now, in my personal opinion, I feel like that the Mitchell kids was probably on his mind because those were the ones that he had the most intimate moments of getting into it with and also knew the longest. So that's just human nature. If I got into it with my best friend real bad, and me and him have said some real nasty stuff to each other, compared to someone else new or whatever have you into the situation, if something happens to my home or my property, I'm going to that source because in my mind, that's who I was beefing with the hardest. And that's exactly what most people do. That's just a human nature thing because who would want to think or see something get damaged when they first have possession of it or not have it that long wants to say it's someone else out of their inner circle. It's gonna be someone in your inner circle. I mean, that's just how that works. Y'all get a little tired. So anyway, now a month before the vandalization happened and also the installing of the cameras, Robert Jr. was arrested for marijuana, but it was also stated that those charges got released and got dropped and he was released soon after. Now, Robert Jr. believed that his neighbor Ronald called the police to report him, but stated that he never went up and confronted him. Now, I kind of believe in seeing something like that. That a lot of times, a lot of these old school neighbors that screaming they want peace and quiet, they will go as far as watching your every move. And let's say you might not even have any kind of illegal contraband around you. If they think it or they feel like it is, the first thing they're going to do is report you to the authorities. I've seen it happen so many times with a lot of my friends back in Carolina when I was in the projects. Even though the projects is supposed to be a place where nobody ain't supposed to tell, there's a lot of old heads that would tell. All right, let's go to the next one here. So anyway, May 2nd, 2010 is a day that's going to live in infamy in this neighborhood because Robert Jr. and his father, Robert Sr., were with Lakeisha, his sister, when they decided to go to a local store on that May 2nd, 2010. Now, Ronald was in his driveway at that point, and he picked an argument with Robert Jr., trying to inciting a fight. But when Robert Jr., who is now 18 years old, went up to Ronald, the latter pulled out a gun and started shooting at him. Ronald Jr. tried to scramble away, like anybody would do. You're either gonna, fly to die. But he was shot in the hip and he went down. Now at this point, Ronald, now this is crazy, went up to the car in which Robert Sr. was sitting and shot him twice at close range. Then he went back to Robert Jr., who was down on the ground, and he pulled the trigger again. And guys, let me tell you, when he did that, they were out of bullets. All right, that was a little commercial music. I'm back. So, as I said before, this young man has now witnessed his neighbor who has shot his father, who could be at that present time dead or close to being dead. Trying to shoot him, but he ran out of bullets. So he decided to go back to his place to reload. Now, I have to tell y'all, shout out to Lakeisha Mitchell who's got to be one of the bravest young ladies I've ever heard of, was able to help her little brother, Robert Jr., to safety. Now, she later testified that she saw Ronald toss something into Robert Sr.'s car. Now, I want y'all to remember this now. That toss, I want y'all to keep in mind what that was, and we will continue. Now, while this is going on, the police has arrived, and Ronald surrendered, and they put Ronald's hand behind his back and took him to jail. Actually, that wasn't the sister. She was a close friend of the family, Lakeisha Garner. I am so sorry. I apologize. Now, when the police arrived on the crime scene, the first thing, old boy goes into self-defense mode. Now, when he goes to self-defense mode, his thing was, oh yeah, they always keep a gun on him. I've been threatened for weeks. And when he pulled up on me, I didn't know what to think. And I went and I panicked. After I shot this man who was unarmed in his own vehicle. So with this gun inside, they did confirm that the gun they found in Robert Sr.'s car was in there, but the gun itself was missing many parts and it was just inoperable. They started to figure and believe that it was Ronald who placed this dummy gun in Robert Sr. lap. The inside of a black glove found at the crime scene was swabbed for DNA, and Ronald was considered a possible contributor. Now, let me tell you why I think he did that. I think his whole goal was to play the victim card. Hey, man, that's why he kept having this paper trail and complaining about these folks, because he had it all planned out. He was going to go and take everything with him. That's crazy. That's what I think it was. I think he was planning on to be acquitted in his mind or never charged, and he was going to move on to the next. So in March of 2013, which took about 3 years almost from the date of the date for Mr. Mitchell, I'm not Mr. Mitchell, my bad. Mr. Mitchell, Senior, losing his life. They found Ronald guilty of second-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, and attempted second-degree murder was trying to actually kill Mr. Mitchell's son, Junior. And then first-degree assault and 2 counts of use of a handgun in the commission of a felony. Now, he received a 40-year sentence as per prison records. He remains incarcerated at Maryland Correctional Institution, Jessup, Georgia. Now, I know a lot of people say that 40 years is not justice, the way he did that young man and the way he was a terror on the community. I do feel like that it is some justice for that family, because the age that he's got to get out, he's going to die in prison. Like, he's going to die in prison. And I don't know if his family or anybody for that concern in his immediate circle have any love left for this guy because of this crazy situation that he put himself in. Guys, listen. Before I end the broadcast, and I want to put some tidbits out to you guys that are thinking about be into a neighborhood that's nice. You need to ask yourself, do you have one of those problems where you can't stand a lot of noise? If there's a school bus going through it or whatever on a regular basis, yeah, it's definitely it's definitely gonna make a lot of noise. Because if you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of kids and they're playing on a regular basis, there's a good chance those kids are going to be a little loud, especially their teenagers. The best thing you need to do is get you a quiet bedroom retirement community. Yeah, I just said it, a retirement community. That means it's nothing but a bunch of old people. They got a set income. They keep themselves. Now you can have that peace and quiet. You can get that extra sleep. You cannot be waking up at the sound of a lawnmower whirling around at 7:30 or this, that, and the third. You can actually enjoy your uh your area, your space, your neighborhood. But taking matters in your own hands because you don't like what the cop said or what the cop did, listen, that ain't the right answer. Because even if you take it upon yourself and you delete yourself, guess what? Those same officers going to be still doing that the same damn job. It never stops. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Thank y'all for joining our first podcast. You can follow me personally on Joel _ Davis _ media _ network. You can also follow me on X, which is Joel David at Joel Davis Media N, as in Nancy. And you can follow me on my Discord as well, where I'll be talking about all kinds of stuff on the news. Let me see what my Discord says. Oh, that's not it. Hold on, y'all. All right, I'm pulling it up now. Yeah, you can check me out on Joel Davis Media Network all together. Look me up on Discord, and I'm there. All right, y'all. Once again, thank you very much. I love y'all. Take care of yourself and each other. I'm out.